Tonight we're going to be talking on Jehovah's Witnesses and the real Jesus, and discussing the most important of all questions: who really is Jesus Christ? And when we are talking to people from the Watchtower, how do we get around to the real Jesus? And how do we, most important of all, present the gospel to these people? So we're going to be concentrating on that, and also, hopefully, in the area of meeting Jehovah's Witnesses ministers. The importance of the person of Jesus Christ when dealing with the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society cannot be minimized. You can waste an enormous amount of time discussing with Jehovah's Witnesses whether or not the soul of man is mortal or immortal. You can argue with them ad infinitum, ad nauseum, about their prophetic structures, and go round and round and round, as Mr. Setnar obviously has demonstrated, and as others proficient in this field also can document. You can waste a great deal of time discussing whether or not hell is the grave or a place of rest in hope until the resurrection. You can argue about blood transfusion and why they won't take it, and the American flag, why they won't salute it. You can lose yourself in dialogue with the average Jehovah's Witness on what must be classified as peripheral theology, and never ever penetrate to the core of the problem. Therefore, let us make a differentiation between central theology and peripheral theology. Peripheral theology is that which has no real impact upon the destiny of the soul or the life that is lived. You can debate it, in fact, and continue to debate it, generating heat and very little light, and never really accomplish anything. But the central theology of the Christian faith revolves around one word: Christology. This is the person, nature, and work of Jesus Christ. Christology is the hub of the wheel from which all the spokes of doctrine radiate. And the rim that holds it together is the authority of the Scriptures. When you are dealing with the Jehovah's Witness, you must remember that the Jehovah's Witnesses believe in the authority of the Scriptures. That is a definite plus, as opposed to, say, the Christian Scientists or the Baha'is, who pay lip service to the Bible but will not say that it is the infallible Word of God. When you are dealing with a Jehovah's Witness, that is Watchtower theology. The Bible is the Word of God. They maintain it is the Supreme Court of Appeals, and teach their people that they should appeal to the Bible. That gives us a very definite cutting edge, because if the Christian is familiar with biblical Christology, who Jesus Christ is, what He came to do, what this really means in terms of redemption and the life to be lived, then it's possible to give an effective witness to a Jehovah's Witness. Now, what frequently happens when a Jehovah's Witness comes to the door is that the Christian becomes somewhat flustered because of a psychology which has been generated through many years of misunderstanding. The Christian must think of the Jehovah's Witness not as some super being, but as an individual soul, the object of Christ's love and salvation. They don't have any whiz-kid approach to evangelism, and they have very few answers. They are programmed by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society in Brooklyn and taught at their kingdom halls and in their various services what to say, right down to the language to be used. In other words, you are dealing with the classic stereotype, word for word, sales presentation of Watchtower theology. You've got to communicate to the Jehovah's Witness, when you are talking to the Jehovah's Witness, that the real object of your concern is the Watchtower Society that has misled them. You are not attacking them. You are criticizing the theology of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. If once you attack Jehovah's Witnesses as a body and make it personal, you might as well forever abandon any hope of getting through to the person you are trying to witness to. They will go on the defensive, and they will defend themselves and the Watchtower to the death. Now, psychologically, nothing irritates people more than to arrive at the conclusion that they have been had, that they have been conned, that somewhere along the line, with all their sincerity and dedication, somebody has made merchandise of them. Time and again, in dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses, I have seen devout members of the Watchtower Society suddenly on their own come to the conclusion, hey, I did get that idea from the Watchtower, and it doesn't square with the Bible. And then they start writing letters and asking questions. Ted Dencher is one of the most famous ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Ted has written a number of books, crisscrosses the country, and has led thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses out of the Watchtower to Jesus Christ. Ted came to Christ by coming in one night dead tired to a Philadelphia Kingdom Hall, and there finding a copy of my book, Jehovah of the Watchtower, sitting in the Kingdom Hall on a table. And some zealous Christian had said to a Jehovah's Witness, I don't know any of the answers, but he does. Read it. And they took it, brought it to the Kingdom Hall, and put it down. Ted came in, opened it up, read the first chapter, threw the book across the room, and said, the man is nuts. I'm not going to listen to that stuff. And something bothered him. Something I wrote. Supposing, just supposing, you are really sincere, really dedicated, really right on in what you are doing, and you are wrong because somebody has misled you with the wrong information. Do you want to spend eternity in hell for somebody else's mistake? And he found himself saying, no, not at all. He got up and went over and picked up the book again. And he read through it. He read it 5 times. Then he sat down and drafted a nasty letter to me. He decided instead of being angry at me, he would instead first ask the Watchtower for the right answers so he could write me and give me the answers. So he wrote down all the questions I had raised in the book and sent them to the Watchtower's headquarters. And they sent him a lovely letter explaining absolutely nothing. And he was a devout Jehovah's Witness, one of their top men in Philadelphia for more than 7 years. And he wrote them again and said, look, I'm one of the family. Please answer the question. The main question I've got is, who's Jesus? And they wrote back, see page such and such, see page such and such, see page such and such. And he wrote them again. I have seen page such and such, but I've also been checking these references in the Bible. And page such and such doesn't make any sense anymore. Please answer my question. And they gave up writing him. And because they couldn't answer him on the one vital question of the ages, who is the real Jesus? A 7-year dyed-in-the-wool Jehovah's Witness fell to his knees in his room and cried out this prayer, Oh Lord, I don't know how it's true, but I know it. Jesus is Jehovah God. Save me. He got up off his knees and he didn't know anything else, but he was born again. And he went out to become a witness for Christ, and today God has raised him up into a great ministry to the Jehovah's Witnesses. He did it because of the question I want to direct your attention to tonight. The identity of Jesus of Nazareth. Who he is. The real Jesus.